This was a huge week for Carnival Cruise News. New menus, technology to speed up debarkation, along with the biggest story of the week. Ahoy travelers, it's Amy with Cruising from the Ozarks here with your weekly Cruise News Roundup and my thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. After a successful test run on the Carnival Dream, my current favorite ship, Carnival began rolling out their new menus fleet-wide this week. The new menus bring more variety to its dining room offerings with dozens of new dishes curated by Chief Culinary Officer Emerald Lagasse in conjunction with Carnival's chefs. Over 60 new dishes will be mixed into the dining room rotation. John Heald has been posting some of the new menus over on his Facebook page if you'd like to see how the dishes are being incorporated in with the old favorites. Go check that out. The new Elegant Night menu has some dishes I am definitely looking forward to, including the crispy buttermilk calamari and the crawfish fettuccine. I also like how you can opt in to purchase food from some of the specialty restaurants right in the MDR. This is perfect for those who are sailing with someone who don't want to indulge in specialty dining. There were some complaints that were fielded by Carnival Ambassador John Heald over a few of the favorite dishes that seem to have gone missing from the new menus, including the chilled strawberry soup. While I would never want to have what I can only assume is something similar to melted ice cream, people seem to really love these cold fruit soups, and Mr. Heald assured everyone that the strawberry soup at least wasn't gone forever. Carnival also launched their new late night menu this week, which means guests will have the option of more than just pizza and ice cream. Now guests will also be able to enjoy soup and salad, along with chicken tenders, hot dogs, cookies, and more. While the menu is limited, it does offer a lot more option for those who like to grab something to eat while watching a late night dive-in movie, or maybe you're headed back to their cabin from the clubs or the casino. Opening and closing times will vary, so check when you get on board your next Carnival cruise. I sometimes like to get a pizza before the late night dive-in movie, kind of depends on when we ate our meal in the MDR, how early that was. But it will be nice to have more options than just the pizza, especially because when pizza was the only option, that line could be really, really long, sometimes 30 minutes long or more. The Carnival Jubilee was officially floated out this morning. This construction milestone marks a significant moment in any ship's progress, as final outfitting has now begun in a nearby wet dock. This float out is particularly significant as Carnival Jubilee was never originally intended to be a Carnival Cruise Line ship. Instead, the vessel had actually been ordered for AIDA Cruises, which is part of the Carnival Cruise family. The incredible success of Mardi Gras prompted Carnival Corporation to switch the ship to its namesake line, making Carnival Jubilee the first vessel Meyer Wharf has ever built for Carnival Cruise Line specifically. The Jubilee will now be tied up at a nearby wet dock where interior work, so things like furnishing the ship, interior design, etc., will finish up. This will take several weeks as final details are put into place. As channel regulars will know, we are scheduled to be on the Jubilee in January, shortly after its launch, so I love seeing every new milestone. Carnival is also expanding its use of facial biometric technology to speed up the debarkation process and its partnership with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. This will improve customer experience. Carnival President Christine Duffy said that they're working to make the debarkation process as simple as possible for guests. When disembarking, guests stop at a kiosk with a camera to take a photo, and the image is biometrically compared to their passport or visa photo within seconds to verify the guest's identity. And it really doesn't, that's what it takes, seconds. It doesn't take long at all. 9 of Carnival's 14 U.S. home ports are now using the technology, including Miami, Port Canaveral, Tampa, Jacksonville, New York, Baltimore, Mobile, Galveston, and Long Beach. At these home ports, the debarkation process has been expedited by an average of 30%. We did this for the first time on our recent cruise on Norwegian. It really did make debarkation that much easier. We like to get on the road as quickly as possible on debarkation day due to the long drive ahead of us, and this just sped that process up even more. Have you ever used one of these biometric scanners? What did you think about it? The biggest story of the week is, of course, the Carnival Pride's propulsion issues. But before we get to that, if you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something, consider subscribing with the notification bell on so you don't miss any future posts. Be sure to hit that like button as well. It only takes a second, and doing so helps cruisers like you find us. The Carnival Pride has been a huge story this week, which means you've probably heard all about it. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but let's go over the highlights and then talk about the latest in this saga. We first learned on Tuesday that propulsion issues had caused the ship to stall while sailing in the Baltic. Guests had to skip their last port of call. It was going to Sweden, so the ship could be limped back to Kiel, Germany for repairs. Popular cruise tubers sharing at sea were on board, and they have a great video documenting everything from those first moments when they heard a loud noise and a shudder went through the ship all the way to making it back to Kiel. They also posted a video of the Pride being helped back into port by a tugboat. When you're done here, I recommend you head on over there and check that video out if you'd like to know more. Carnival has done, in my opinion, just about everything they can to make things right for both guests sailing on board when the ship broke down, as well as those that were booked on the next cruise that's on the schedule. Guests on the original 12-day cruise were compensated for the missed port, and transportation from Kiel to their final destination of Dover was taken care of if needed. Now, I did see this morning that there must have been some issues getting people from Kiel back to the UK to meet their flights home, because John Heald posted an apology on his Facebook page early this morning. I'm sure it was no easy feat trying to get almost 2,000 people on charter flights at the last minute. Those on the 9-day cruise that was originally supposed to sail on Friday are now being offered a shorter 6-day cruise leaving out on Monday. The original letter sent out from Carnival to those that were set to sail on this 9-day cruise is that they would be given a full refund and 100% cruise credit if they'd yet to make it over to Europe. However, as many had actually already flown in for their cruise, Carnival said that they were going to be given vouchers for hotels up to $300 a night, $100 per diem for food, and Carnival would even cover their unexpected travel costs, included penalties for flight changes. From the beginning, Carnival stated that they were hoping to sail a shorter cruise if possible. So those that were already in Europe were kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see when and if that would happen. Yesterday, John Heald posted information that had been relayed to those waiting to see if their cruise would continue or not. Guests were told that their cruise would continue with the ship leaving out from Dover on Monday on a shortened 6-day itinerary, visiting ports in Ireland and Wales. Those choosing to sail are having their cruise fare prorated and being refunded the cost of the days they missed out on and given a $500 onboard credit. Those who chose to cancel their cruise will still be given the originally offered full refund and 100% future cruise credit. Which would you choose? I think for me it would have depended on whether or not I was already across the pond. Like I wouldn't have wanted to continue my flights not knowing what was going to happen. I think the stress would have been too much. I just would have canceled it and taken the free cruise. Because that's what a 100% future cruise credit is when you got refunded for the other cruise. I mean, it's a free cruise. I know on our cruise around Norway, we're planning on flying in 2 days prior to embarkation, and that meant we wouldn't have already been in port in this instance. But many people did come in several days early to get the most out of their vacation overseas by doing some sightseeing by land first. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if you think Carnival has done enough to compensate for this unexpected mechanical malfunction or not. I think they've done more than most companies would do, especially those companies not in the cruise industry. Why not stick around and check out this video and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.